everyone. My name is Ellen Carano. I'm a paleontologist at the University of Wyoming and co-founder of the Bearded Lady Project. This is me. I'm really excited to be here with you today. I'm going to read my essay called What is Paleontology? Boom, boom, ba-doom, boom, boom. Oh, dinosaurs are big and scary, big animals that aren't very hairy. This is how I remember being introduced to paleontology as a 5-year-old in Mrs. Brissolera's first grade class at Pope John XXIII School in Evanston, Illinois. No doubt there were visits to Chicago's Field Museum before that, and my family likes to joke about how I threw a major tantrum at age 2 during our family vacation to Badlands National Park because my parents told me I was not allowed to take home what I thought was the very best and most important rock ever. Looking at our iconic family photograph of me clutching this rock, I now see nothing at all special about this hunk of gray mudstone. But these lines of a song, learned for a teacher to whom I am forever indebted, are how I remember discovering paleontology. And I became dinosaur obsessed. Over the years, acquiring dinosaur bed linens, posters, stuffed animals, books, toys, videos, and so much more, and persuading my obliging parents to take me to as many dinosaur museums as possible. We bought a family membership at the Field Museum, and I dragged my mom on every possible occasion to Dave's Rock Shop, the neighborhood rock shop, which also has quite an impressive museum in its basement. Well, I knew that other kinds of fossils besides dinosaurs existed, and I saved my allowances and babysitting money to buy ones I fancied from Dave. I don't think I really understood that there were paleontologists who studied anything besides dinosaurs until I went to college. True, I had several fossil books with beautiful photographs of petrified wood, ammonites, crinoids, and more. And my mom read me excerpts from the University of Chicago Alumni Magazine about new discoveries by world-renowned invertebrate paleontologists who would become my professors when I too attended university there. But I think I thought that people studied these fossils in their free time, when they weren't studying dinosaurs. Oh my, how wrong I was, and how much more wonderful my world is for discovering that I was wrong. Paleontologists study the history of life on Earth, from the very first single-celled organisms to our own hominid ancestors. We're often confused with archaeologists who study human history and civilization. Paleontologists seek to understand how ancient and extinct organisms functioned and what environments different organisms inhabited. Some of us could just as well be called evolutionary biologists, because we use fossils to study how evolution occurs and how different groups are related to each other. We discover the missing links, or more correctly, transition series, that show intermediaries between seemingly disparate groups. Feathered dinosaurs, legged whales, and near and dear to me at least, trees with wood-like conifers and leaves and spores like ferns. Others of us focus on the ecology of ancient Earth, what organisms are found together, how they interacted with each other, and how ecosystems responded to environmental perturbations. As such, paleontology is a societally relevant science, in addition to being a gateway science that, through dinosaurs, lures in unsuspecting children like me. Today, humans are causing extinction of plants and animals and global warming, the likes of which are unknown in recorded history. By studying fossils, we can establish a baseline for how Earth worked before there were people. We can investigate the rates and magnitudes of past climate change and mass extinction, the resilience of different types of organisms, and how life previously rebounded from catastrophe. Turns out, what humans are doing is unprecedented in the 4.6 billion year history of Earth. The scientists of the Bearded Lady Project encompass the breadth of paleontology. I study ancient plant life and my research investigates how plants and the insects that eat them responded to ancient climate change. I do this by excavating fossil leaves and examining them for traces of insect feeding damage. Similarly, invertebrate paleontologist Patricia Kelly studies predator-prey coevolution and escalation over the last 80 million years by examining holes in bivalve shells made by boring snails and other predators. Paleoecologist Kieran Chin studies food webs that include dinosaurs by mounting very thin slices of fossil dinosaur dung on microscope slides and identifying everything she can within the dung. Other paleontologists use fossils to document ancient environmental disturbances. Andrea Hawks and Tina Dura collect sediment cores from marshes in places that are prone to earthquakes and tsunamis. They isolate diatoms and foraminifera, which are two types of microfossils, from the sediments, and they use species compositions and abundances to reconstruct sea level changes caused by tectonics. Their goal is to extend our record of earthquakes and tsunamis back thousands of years and use these data to better assess modern-day hazards. Claire Belcher's lab focuses on the history of wildfire, examining charcoal that is preserved in ancient sediments. They also conduct experiments in the laboratory, burning different plant material to determine flammability and carefully observing features of the charcoal produced. And for all paleontologists, it's essential to understand how well fossils capture the living communities. This is the life's work of paleobiologist Kay Berensmeyer, co-founder of an entire discipline within paleontology called taphonomy, or the study of how remains become fossilized. Berensmeyer has been studying carcasses at Amboseli National Park in Kenya for decades to better understand processes that preserve and destroy modern bones, as well as to investigate how faithfully the bone assemblages capture what is actually living at Amboseli. Paleontology has come a long way since the 1800s, when Mary Anning excavated the fossil bones of then unimaginable animals from the cliffs of Lyme Regis in England, and had to turn them over to men for scientific study. Today, women can study and publish on the fossils they find, but like in other fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM for short, women remain severely underrepresented. Just 22% of Paleontological Society members are women, a proportion that has not changed since 2000. Broadening to the geosciences, women make up 20% of faculty members. Recognition of female paleontologists also lags. The median annual salary for a man with a PhD in geoscience is $98,000 versus only $80,000 for a woman. The top award given by paleontology's largest professional society, the Paleontological Society Medal, has been awarded to just 4 women versus 55 men. But encouragingly, the Paleontological Society is increasingly recognizing women for early career excellence. Between 1973 and 2012, just 3 women received the Society's Schuchert Award, whereas 4 of 7 awardees since 2012 are women. A steadily growing number of studies seeks to understand why so few girls become scientists and why the retention rate for female scientists is so low. There's no evidence for innate differences in scientific aptitude between men and women. Rather, the most recent work argues that implicit and likely unintentional biases that stem from repeated exposure to cultural stereotypes prevent many talented women from succeeding. Bluntly put, women are perceived as less competent, but more likable and warm than men. A now famous study by Dr. Carol Moss-Verkusen and colleagues conclusively demonstrated that both women and men display biases against aspiring female scientists. Female applicants for a lab manager position were less likely to be hired, offered a lower salary, and viewed less deserving of mentorship than identical male applicants. Similarly, a study of reference letters for geoscience postdoctoral fellowships, a key stepping stone to coveted faculty positions, found that women are half as likely as men to receive excellent letters. These biases affect women throughout their careers. In addition to being overlooked for jobs, awards, leadership positions in professional societies, and other professional honors, women in STEM are vulnerable to stereotype threat, the constant pressure of having to be perfect so as to not reinforce negative stereotypes about women in science. One manifestation of stereotype threat is lowered self-confidence, which in turn leads to greater attention to detail, fewer grant applications and less ambitious requests, and lower publication rates. Grant dollars and publication record are key metrics used to evaluate prospective faculty hires and during the promotion process. The Bearded Lady Project challenges societal messages and the implicit stereotype of lower scientific competence in women. It showcases, as role models, some inspirational field-based paleontologists who also happen to be women. And it provides opportunities for aspiring scientists to conduct their own field-based research through our scholarship funds. The Bearded Lady Project began before Me Too, but our public events have initiated discussions on sexual harassment and assault, both of which are prevalent in science and especially in field-based sciences. Like our sisters in entertainment, politics, sports, and other male-dominated industries, each and every woman in paleontology has Me Too stories to tell. It has been an honor to provide a venue in which women can be empowered by publicly sharing experiences they have kept hidden for far too long. The Bearded Lady Project team proudly captures both the struggles and triumphs of women in paleontology. Thank you guys for being here with me. Just quickly to give some credit where credit is due. So first off, that song I started out with, well, the line is actually, "Oh, dinosaurs were strong and scary. Big animals who are not very hairy." And that is from the rock opera Dinosaur Rock. We also have a number of people to thank for their intellectual contributions that I referred to here. So Cohen, Stegall, and Topaz, a gender analysis of the Paleontological Society. Dutt, Pfaff, Bernstein, Dillard, and Block, gender differences and recommendation letters for postdoctoral fellowships in geoscience. Eagley and Mladinek, are people prejudiced against women? Some answers from research on attitudes, gender stereotypes, and judgments of competence. Halpern, Bendow, Geary, Gurr, Hyde, and Gernsbacher, the science of sex differences in science and mathematics. Hyde and Lynn, diversity, gender similarities in mathematics and science. Lai, Hoffman, and Nosek, reducing implicit prejudice. Moss-Racusin, Davidio, Breskull, Graham, and Handelsman, science faculty's subtle gender biases favor male students. NSF and NCSES, Scientists and Engineers Statistical Data System Surveys, survey year 2013. Spelke, sex differences in intrinsic aptitude for mathematics and science, a critical review. Steele and Aronson, stereotype threat and the intellectual test performance of African Americans. Simmons, Gemmel, Brazier, Gorange, and Elgar, gender differences in publication output towards an unbiased metric of research performance. And Wilson, status of the geoscience workforce. And I apologize to anyone whose name I might have improperly pronounced. All right, bye everyone.